The Baltimore Ravens step into this season carrying the weight of history and the buzz of expectation. No team has ever managed to capture the AFC North crown 3 years in a row, and yet all signs point to Baltimore being the one to break that barrier. On paper, this roster looks as strong as any in football, but that has not stopped critics from throwing shade at their chances. Some say the Bengals, who have not even made the playoffs in the past 2 years, are a more trustworthy bet. Others look toward Buffalo as the real roadblock. But inside Baltimore's locker room, the focus is not on the noise, not on the doubts, but on erasing the sting of last January and proving that this group is built to finish the job. Lamar Jackson heads into his 3rd season under the same offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, and that kind of continuity has been a rare gift in his career. It is one thing to adjust year after year to new schemes and voices, but having that familiarity with Monken gives Lamar freedom to play faster, trust the calls, and sharpen the chemistry he already has with his weapons. Around him, Derrick Henry is back to pound defenses into the turf, and young talents like Derek Carey and Zay Flowers are poised to take another leap. On the other side of the ball, defensive coordinator Zach Orr begins his sophomore season with the headset, and if his trajectory mirrors what Mike Macdonald did in his 2nd year, Baltimore's defense could be in for something special. Still, not everyone buys it. Former Cowboys fullback Daryl Moose Johnston recently said he is not sold on Baltimore being able to push through, pointing to the Bills and even the Bengals as teams he trusts more. To many in Baltimore, that feels absurd. The Bengals' lone Super Bowl run has been treated like it defines them forever, but since then their defense has been gutted. Key playmakers like DJ Reader and Jesse Bates are gone, and what is left feels far from the feared unit that once gave the Ravens fits. Yes, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins will light up scoreboards, but defense still wins in January. Without consistent pass rush or stability in the secondary, Cincinnati's ceiling is capped. If Trey Hendrickson misses time, the entire structure collapses. It is not a matter of if the Bengals can score, but whether they can get enough stops to matter against a team as balanced as Baltimore. The Steelers remain the wild card. They always manage to play the Ravens close, no matter the talent gap. Now they enter this season with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, which on paper looks like an upgrade from last year's carousel of Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Rodgers will no doubt bring timing, rhythm, and veteran decision-making, but questions linger about the offensive line and whether DK Metcalf can be that consistent difference-maker week after week. For all the grit Pittsburgh carries, it feels like their ceiling is lower than Baltimore's or even Cincinnati's. Rodgers can still make magic, but if the protection falters, even he will struggle against relentless pass rushers like Odafe. For the Ravens themselves, the biggest question mark sits inside the offensive line. The guard spots remain unsettled, with Andrew Voorhees still unproven and Daniel Falale showing flashes of improvement, but also some glaring breakdowns. His losses stand out more than his wins, often collapsing so quickly that Lamar has no time to react. The hope is that with better hand placement and sharper technique, his massive frame can finally become a true weapon in the trenches. Until then, Monken will have to design plays that maximize their strengths and hide their flaws. The good news for Baltimore is that they have a quarterback built to create magic when protection breaks down. Still, as everyone around the team knows, Lamar cannot be asked to play superhero on every snap. Injuries, as always, hover like a storm cloud. Cornerback Jaire Alexander looks ready to suit up after returning to practice, and his presence injects swagger and playmaking ability into the secondary. Paired with veterans like Chidobe Awuzie and stars like Marlon Humphrey, Baltimore's corner group is deep and versatile. They can rotate, stay fresh, and hopefully remain healthy for the stretch run. That calculated depth is a theme throughout the roster. DeAndre Hopkins may not be asked to carry the receiving core alone because Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman can share the load. Even if one star misses time, there are layers of depth behind him. That is why many believe this is not just the best roster of the Lamar Jackson era, but one of the deepest in franchise history. Yet the team is not invincible. The possible absence of tight end Isaiah Likely and fullback Patrick Ricard changes how the offense might function against Buffalo in Week 1. Ricard, in particular, is more than just a fullback. He has been a critical blocking tight end and a tone setter in the run game. Without him, Baltimore may lean more heavily on wide receiver sets, using players like Tylan Wallace to do dirty work in the blocking game. Monken has the creativity to adjust, but Rickard's unique skill set is difficult to replace. The focus for Monken heading into Week 1 is simple: clean football. Last year, Baltimore was one of the most penalized teams in the league, often killing their own drives with mistakes like false starts or holding calls. Penalties not only robbed them of momentum, but also extended opportunities for opponents. Those backbreaking defensive pass interference flags turned stops into first downs and often led directly to points. If Baltimore truly wants to be the team holding the Lombardi Trophy in February, discipline must improve. Physical mistakes can be forgiven, but pre-snap penalties and mental lapses cannot continue. When you look at the entire picture, Baltimore feels like the most complete team in the AFC North. They have fewer holes than the Bengals, more firepower than the Steelers, and more stability than the Browns. Their biggest enemy might not be their rivals, but their own health and discipline. If they stay healthy and cut down on the mistakes, this could be the most dangerous Ravens squad we have seen since the Super Bowl run over a decade ago. The build-up to Week 1 against Buffalo has all the ingredients of a statement game. For the Ravens, it is less about revenge for what happened last postseason and more about setting the tone for an entirely new year. Players and coaches have made it clear that the ghosts of January cannot linger if they want to finally break through. A new season brings new opportunities, and the only way to erase old scars is by writing a different story on the field. Facing Josh Allen and the Bills on opening night is as good a test as any. It is a heavyweight bout right out of the gate, one that will challenge Baltimore's depth, discipline, and resilience. Jaire Alexander's return is a crucial development. When healthy, he is among the league's elite corners, a player who can frustrate even the most dynamic wide receivers. His energy, swagger, and ability to take the ball away are infectious to the rest of the defense. The Ravens are not asking him to carry the entire load. Instead, he and Chidobe Awuzie can rotate, sharing snaps and preserving each other's health. By December, whoever is playing best will be leaned on the most, but until then, the plan is to keep both veterans fresh. Adding Alexander to a group that already features Marlon Humphrey and rookie Nate Wiggins gives Baltimore the kind of depth championship defenses are built on. That depth is a theme across the roster. General Manager Eric DeCosta has built layers upon layers of insurance, so injuries to one player do not sink an entire position group. Take wide receiver, for example. DeAndre Hopkins may not be at the peak of his career anymore, but his route running and strong hands still make him dangerous. And with Zay Flowers and Rashad Bateman ready to explode, Baltimore can withstand short absences without completely losing its identity. The same is true at running back, where Derrick Henry headlines the group, but Justice Hill and Keaton Mitchell are more than capable of stepping in to provide speed and versatility. It is a roster designed not only to dominate when fully healthy, but to survive the inevitable injuries that every team faces. The rookie class is another source of optimism. Safety Malachi Starks looks ready to play a major role immediately, bringing range and aggression that fits perfectly into the Ravens scheme. Defensive end Mike Green might not be a starter right away, but his arsenal of pass rush moves has scouts buzzing. Watching his college tape, it is hard to believe a rookie from Marshall could come into the league with such a polished skill set. The spin move that shredded Ohio State's line is the kind of weapon that could terrorize NFL guards once he adjusts to the speed of the league. Add in Tyler Lacey and a few other young contributors, and it is clear this rookie group is expected to leave a mark sooner rather than later. The Ravens have always prided themselves on drafting players who fit their culture, and this class seems tailor-made for Baltimore's aggressive, disciplined style. Still, the biggest opponent Baltimore may face is themselves. Penalties were a nightmare last season. Over and over again, promising drives were wiped away by holding calls or false starts. Defensive flags extended opponents' possessions, swinging momentum in critical games. Todd Monken has hammered the importance of clean football, focusing on cadence, pre-snap communication, and staying ahead of the chains. It is not glamorous, but avoiding drive-killing mistakes could be the difference between a promising regular season and another postseason disappointment. The Ravens know they have the star power. What they need is consistency and discipline. Against Buffalo, the game plan looks obvious. Control the clock, keep Josh Allen on the sideline, and lean on the run game to wear down the Bills' banged-up interior defensive line. Henry will be the hammer, but Baltimore's creativity will come in how they use their wide receivers in the run game. Tylan Wallace, for instance, might not catch many passes, but his physical blocking could be a secret weapon. Think of how the Rams used Cooper Kupp to dig out linebackers and safeties. Wallace could play that same role, cracking defenders and opening lanes for Henry and Lamar. Without Patrick Ricard, that kind of adjustment becomes even more important. Isaiah Likely's absence hurts too, but Mark Andrews remains a reliable safety valve who could feast if Buffalo sells out to stop the run. The beauty of this Ravens offense is its versatility. They can line up in heavy sets and pound the ball, or spread the field with 3 receivers and force defenses to cover every blade of grass. Monken has the tools to adapt depending on the situation. If Baltimore falls behind early, they have the weapons to mount a comeback. If they jump out to a lead, they can lean on the ground game and choke the life out of the clock. Few teams have that balance. That is why so many around the league view this roster as not just good, but potentially great. When you zoom out, you see how much is riding on these first 6 games. The schedule is brutal, filled with contenders. But if Baltimore navigates that gauntlet unbeaten, or even with just 1 loss, the rest of the league will have no choice but to see them as the front runners for the AFC crown. It is rare that a team has both the top-end talent and the depth to survive a full season. The Ravens believe they finally do. But belief and execution are 2 different things. The only way to prove it is on Sundays. Fans know the storylines well by now. Lamar's pursuit of the one thing missing on his resume. The chance to make AFC North history by winning the division 3 years straight. The hunger to erase playoff heartbreaks. The doubts from national voices who keep propping up Cincinnati or Buffalo as the safer bets. Inside the locker room, the noise fades. What matters is health, discipline, and taking care of business 1 week at a time. And Week 1 offers the perfect chance to show the football world that this Ravens team is not just talented on paper, but ready to dominate where it matters most. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. In what could be described as a seismic shakeup in the NFL, whispers around Baltimore suggest that Tyreek Hill, the league's most electrifying wide receiver, may be on the verge of joining the Ravens, a move that, if confirmed, would instantly go down as the biggest signing in franchise history. Sources close to the team hint that discussions have been very advanced, though nothing is official yet, fueling a frenzy of speculation among fans and analysts alike. Hill, known for his jaw-dropping speed and game-breaking ability, has been a dominant force since entering the league. His arrival in Baltimore would transform a Ravens offense that has often relied heavily on its ground game, injecting a level of explosiveness that could rival any team in the NFL. Imagine Lamar Jackson connecting with Hill on deep routes, stretching defenses in ways the Ravens have seldom experienced. This is the kind of nightmare matchup for opponents that keeps coaches up at night. While details remain murky, insiders are already debating the potential price tag and what the signing could mean for the Ravens' salary structure. Some suggest it could be a bold, almost audacious gamble to lure Hill to the Charm City. But in the high-stakes world of professional football, risk and reward often go hand in hand. If Hill does land in Baltimore, the ripple effects would be immediate, sending shockwaves through the AFC and leaving rival teams scrambling to respond. Fans have flooded social media with excitement, creating a whirlwind of speculation about the uniform number Hill might wear and how his presence could reshape the team's offensive schemes. Coaches and front office executives, meanwhile, are reportedly weighing the monumental opportunity against the logistical challenges of such a blockbuster acquisition. Although still unconfirmed, the very notion of Tyreek Hill in a Ravens jersey has ignited the imagination of a city starved for headline-grabbing moves. Could this be the dawn of a new era in Baltimore? The NFL rumor mill is buzzing like never before, and if even half of these murmurs prove true, the Ravens may just have secured a player who doesn't just change games. He changes legacies. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.